The town of Whispering Pines was shrouded in an eerie silence, the kind of silence that makes you question if you are truly alone. A dense fog hung low, clinging to the gnarled branches of ancient trees. It was as if the fog itself was alive, wrapping around the trees like a ghostly embrace. Shadows danced in the moonlight, twisting familiar shapes into menacing figures. The moonlight cast an eerie glow, making the forest seem like a place out of a nightmare. The air was heavy with the scent of pine needles and damp earth, a smell that usually brought comfort, but tonight carried a chilling undertone. Every step on the forest path felt like a step into the unknown. The townsfolk were known for their closed doors and suspicious glances. They rarely spoke of the strange occurrences, but their eyes told stories of fear and caution. They had long whispered about the secrets hidden within the dense woods that encircled their town. Stories of lost travelers and eerie lights that appeared without warning, whispers of things unseen, of sounds unheard by those who ventured too far. The wind carried these whispers, making the forest seem alive with secrets. The forest held an ancient power, one that sent shivers down the spines of even the bravest souls. It was a place where time seemed to stand still, and the past felt ever present, lurking just beyond the shadows. Misty Evans, a girl with eyes as blue as the summer sky, vanished on a night like any other. Her disappearance was as sudden as it was mysterious, leaving everyone in the small town bewildered and heartbroken. The moon hung high, casting an eerie glow on the deserted streets. It was a night that seemed to hold its breath, as if anticipating the inexplicable event that was about to unfold. She had been walking home from a friend's house, her laughter echoing through the silent night. The sound of her joy was the last thing anyone heard before she vanished without a trace. Then, silence. A silence so profound, it was as if the night itself had swallowed her whole. The fog rolled in, thick and impenetrable, cloaking the streets in an unsettling stillness. Her disappearance sent shockwaves through the small town. The news spread like wildfire, and soon everyone was talking about the girl who had simply vanished into thin air. Misty was the epitome of innocence, her laughter a familiar melody in their quiet lives. She was the kind of girl who brought light into the darkest corners, her smile a beacon of hope. The thought of something sinister happening in their midst was unbearable, yet the chilling truth lingered in the air. The townspeople couldn't shake the feeling that something dark and malevolent had taken her. Where could she have gone? The question haunted everyone, a constant reminder of the fragility of their peaceful existence. The search for Misty became an obsession, but the answers remained elusive. The search for Misty began immediately, fueled by a mixture of fear and desperation. The urgency in the air was palpable, as if the very night itself was pressing down on them, urging them to find her before it was too late. Townsfolk, their faces etched with worry, gathered in the town square, their voices hushed as they discussed the unthinkable. The community, usually so vibrant and full of life, was now shrouded in a heavy silence, broken only by the occasional murmur of concern. Lanterns bobbed in the darkness as they ventured into the night, their search parties combing through the woods, their calls of her name swallowed by the dense foliage. The forest seemed endless, each step forward feeling like a step deeper into an abyss of uncertainty. Hours turned into days, and the initial hope that had flickered in their hearts began to dwindle. Exhaustion set in, but they pressed on, driven by the faint hope that they might still find her, that she might still be out there somewhere. The forest, once a source of sustenance and beauty, now seemed to mock their efforts, its impenetrable darkness concealing their secrets. The trees, which had once provided shade and shelter, now loomed like silent sentinels guarding the mysteries within. Each rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig, sent their pulses racing, only to be met with crushing disappointment. The sounds of the forest, once familiar and comforting, now seemed to taunt them, each noise a reminder of their growing despair. As days turned into weeks, the townsfolk's initial fear morphed into something darker, more sinister. Whispers of ancient curses and malevolent spirits began to circulate. They spoke of the old mill at the edge of town, abandoned and decaying, a place where shadows moved unseen and whispers seemed to emanate from the walls. The mill had always been a source of unease, shrouded in unsettling tales passed down through generations. Legend had it that the miller who once worked there had been a cruel man, his heart consumed by greed. One day he vanished without a trace, leaving behind whispers of a deal gone wrong and a vengeful spirit seeking retribution. Section 5. The Old Miller's Tale. Old Maggie, the town's oldest resident, claimed to remember the miller's disappearance. She sat by her fireplace, her voice a low rasp, recounting the tale that had haunted her childhood. The miller, she said, had made a pact with an entity that dwelled deep within the forest, trading his soul for prosperity. But the entity demanded a steep price, a sacrifice of innocence and purity. It was said that the miller had tried to cheat his fate, offering up a stray animal instead. But the entity, enraged by his deceit, had dragged him into the shadows, his screams echoing through the night. Section 6. A Glimmer of Hope. Just as despair threatened to consume them, a glimmer of hope emerged. A group of children playing near the forest's edge stumbled upon a small pink hair ribbon snagged on a branch. It was Misty's. The discovery sent a surge of renewed hope through the weary townsfolk. They gathered at the spot where the ribbon was found, their eyes scanning the dense undergrowth, their hearts pounding with a mixture of anticipation and dread. Could Misty still be alive? Was she lost and scared, or had something more sinister befallen her? Section 7. The Abandoned Mill. The trail of clues, faint as they were, led them deeper into the forest towards the dilapidated mill. The townsfolk exchanged uneasy glances, their footsteps hesitant as they approached the crumbling structure. The air grew heavy, the silence broken only by the sound of their own breathing and the distant caw of a crow. The once bright red paint of the mill was now faded and peeling, revealing the rotting wood beneath. The windows were boarded up, but through the cracks they could see the faint glow of an unnatural light emanating from within. Fear, cold and sharp, pierced their hearts. Section 8. Facing the Unknown. With a mix of trepidation and determination, they slowly pushed open the creaking door. The hinges groaned in protest, as if warning them to turn back. The stench of decay hit them first, a pungent mix of mildew and something sickly sweet. Dust motes danced in the faint moonlight that filtered through the grimy windows. As their eyes adjusted to the gloom, they saw her, Misty. She was sitting in the center of the room, her back to them, her small frame illuminated by a single flickering lantern. Relief washed over them, so profound it threatened to buckle their knees. She was alive. Section 9. A Desperate Struggle. But as they rushed towards her, a figure emerged from the shadows, stepping into the pool of light. It was the miller, his eyes glowing with an eerie light, his clothes tattered and covered in dust. He lunged at Misty, a guttural growl escaping his lips. The townsfolk sprang into action, their fear momentarily forgotten in the face of such blatant aggression. A struggle ensued, a chaotic dance of flailing limbs and desperate cries. The miller fought with a strength that belied his frail frame, his grip on Misty tightening. Section 10, The Truth Revealed. In the chaos, a lantern shattered, engulfing the room in flames. As the fire raged, the truth was revealed. The miller, his face contorted in a mask of rage and despair, was not holding Misty. In his arms, he clutched a porcelain doll, its blue eyes staring blankly into the inferno. The fire seemed to consume the miller, his screams echoing through the night as the flames danced around him. When the fire finally died down, only ashes and the charred remains of the mill were left. Of Misty, there was no sign. Section 11, A Haunting Silence. The townsfolk returned to their homes, their hearts heavy with grief and unanswered questions. Misty was never found, her disappearance remaining an unsolved mystery, a chilling tale whispered around campfires. The forest stood silent, its secrets kept safe beneath the canopy of trees. And in the eerie silence of the night, when the wind whispered through the trees, they could almost hear it. Misty's laughter, a haunting melody carried on the breeze, a constant reminder of the night she disappeared.